All right, we're live, dude. This is the Off-Road Rodeo Podcast, or the Rodeo with Dirty and Poss. We haven't named it yet, but this is just a test run of our podcast with one another. I'm Jake, or Poss, and this is
Tyler, or Dirty Hutch.
So basically the whole premise of this is that we're going to talk about things that are relevant to motorcycles and mountain bikes. But today we're going to start it off talking about Tyler and a recent injury that Tyler's coming back from and his passion for motorcycles. But first off, I want to hear the story behind this Honda hat, because you've owned a Honda for like 3 days.
You know, the Honda wing. You can't be on off-road rodeo without a Honda hat. That's the only reason I'm allowed back.
Exactly.
No, long story short, my buddy at work, who's the parts manager of our dealership, he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna buy you a hat." And it's the same day I bought the motorcycle. And
Nice.
he said he wouldn't tell me what it was, but he said, "I'm gonna buy you a hat when it gets here." I had like an old like Leat hat, and he's all like, he's like super like always got some fresh like Jordans on, like some Yeezys. He's always like looking, the best he can. So, and I had this greasy old Leat hat. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna buy you this hat. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, and you can have it for free if you throw this one up, your old one away. So it gets here last week, and it's a Honda wing. So I dig it.
Nice.
More Leat.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start here with your injury. And so you went riding. What day was it?
New Year's Eve.
Okay, and walk us through the whole story here.
Well, so we're doing this local race, right?
You don't have. I wouldn't name the event.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So local race, right? So, and it's like promoted as this like woods race. This location has like 50 miles of single track trails. So like, okay, right up my alley. It's local. I'm gonna come out of retirement, right? And so I do. And the whole reason I'm going is 45 minutes away from my house, and there's a cash payout. I'm like, oh, like I'm one of the fastest guys around here. Like, it's fine. So you get there, or I get there, and everyone else heard cash payout. So, so there's a bunch of like pro guys showed up, and so it ended up being a lot bigger deal, a lot bigger race than anyone anticipated. They probably anticipated 20 people. It was like 200 people. So, people trying to hustle for some cash. But anyway, so this place has like 20 or 50 miles of single track. Well, it's also a side-by-side like place to ride. And anyone knows side-by-sides, then side-by-side people. Not trying to be against side-by-side people, but anyway. So me and my buddy James, I'm sure you've seen him. He was in the One Rock trip or on it. It was in the video and all that.
Yeah.
They were very unorganized, this race was. And then the race was on the side-by-side course, which is like a motocross track in a field with no jumps. It's just but plowed, perfectly groomed. Like, it was pretty fun, actually. But it's not what we signed up for. We signed up to race in the woods, not on a side-by-side course.
Yeah. So it's like a side-by-side course is going to be a lot wider, obviously, to accommodate the side-by-sides, but it's not going to have as many like jumps, and it's not going to be as rolling, right? It's going to be a little flatter.
Yeah, flat. Just picture a field, and someone took like a tractor with like a grader on the back and just made like a track in the field. No
Gotcha.
berms, just flat, right?
Yeah.
And then it went off into the woods a little bit, but it was like a mud trail. Like it was like all underwater. Like it
Yeah.
was not safe. So we're on the sight lap. So I mean, normally in woods racing you don't get a sight lap, but we got a sight lap, which is like a pre-ride the course, check it out type deal.
Okay.
Um, and again, instead of dividing it up by classes, they sent all like 200 people out at the same time on like a 3 mile course of all different skill levels.
So beginner to pro, sponsored pro.
Yep, yep. So, anyway, and the reason for that is they didn't even have a flag to wave to start. They were trying to figure out how to signify a checker flag and one lap to go flag, and so they ended up having a clipboard and they were writing on it. But anyway, that's just the type of place that this was. So very sketchy, unorganized
Okay.
for the amount of people there. So anyway, we're on the sight lap, me and James. I'm following him, and we were doing the exact opposite of what you need to do on a sight lap, which is instead of looking at the trail, like seeing, oh, that's a good line, oh, don't go there, that mud hole's deep. We're like full blown race pace, and we're just picking people off left and right, and it was pretty fun. But anyway, we come out of the woods into like back onto the side by side track. Well, so like the rest of the beginning of the course, you follow the track, right?
Okay.
Well, the end of the course is different. The track goes straight, or the actual track goes straight. Well, the race course,
You're saying like the
right?
actual trail that you were on continued straight.
Yes, and it's
Okay.
wide. It's like 3 car lengths wide. Like it's huge, right?
Gotcha.
And but the course they want us to go right through this middle of the field, right? And there's like a, I mean, at the time it looked like fishing line because I didn't see it. No one else saw it, but like a rope that signified, don't go this way, go that way. So it was James and I, and there's like 2 other, like, I don't know if they're beginner or what, but they were going slower than we were.
Okay.
So we're going, this is me, this is the other guy. The course is supposed to veer this way. Well, I'm literally third gear wide open trying to get around him and James. So going, and he's like, oh no, the course turns. Last seconds, he was about to blow the corner too. He goes, and turns right in front of me. I'm like 50 miles per hour, and just bam. So over the bars, knocked the wind out of me. I sounded like a baby. It was like, for like 2 minutes. And like James just like hovered over me. Everyone's like over me, and they're like, he's like, you're okay. You just lost your breath. I'm like, So, but went over the bars, bit my handlebars. Yeah, it was. I knew immediately it was broken. Like it was my collarbone broke. I don't know if we
Yeah.
stated that yet, but
Is it
collarbone
okay if we
broke.
put a picture in right here?
Yeah, you need to.
All right. We'll put the picture right here.
All right. So yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty gnarly break, and so it was again adding on to the quality of this race promotion. There wasn't an EMT there. There's just some guy with a volunteer firefighter shirt on, but he didn't know how to like put a sling and like not that I have any medical training, but I know if someone has like a neck slash head slash rib injury, because I had all that.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to yank them off the ground or take their helmet off or anything like that. This guy literally grabs my helmet and like it's like trying to get it off. I'm like, hold on now. And like my helmet's got like emergency release, like the cheek pads fall out, and so you can get it off really easy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I get into their side by side, right?
Yeah.
And it's full of beer cans, like this is like 9 o'clock in the morning. These guys have already been drinking, but he's the EMT on site. Like, come on. So they're like, "Oh, do we need to get you an ambulance?" I'm like, "Not to your hospital." So yeah, it's pretty rough. Went in the hospital, had a CAT scan, CT, not CAT scan, X-ray, CT scans,
Okay.
and all that stuff. Put me in a sling. It was pretty painful.
Yeah.
And then I walk out of the hospital. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's broken. We don't know if you need surgery or not. Go see a orthopedic." I'm like, "All right, great."
So between, obviously you knew it was broken when it happened, but between going to the hospital and then when they actually decided you needed surgery, how long of a time period was that?
Uh, let's see. I think like 10 to 12 days.
Yikes.
Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember the day I had surgery on. It was like the second week of January on a Thursday.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, like how intense was the pain in that 10 to 12 days?
I mean, it was definitely a 10 at some points. I mean, it got the first like 2 days were like you can't. It doesn't matter if you're sitting down. It doesn't matter if you're like moving. Like it's just like it's throbbing, sharp pain no matter what.
Yeah.
And I've always thought collarbones was like, you break a collarbone, that's a real common injury. Like, no big deal, right? That's not even how I was when I broke it. Like, oh, no big deal. Like, they'll go in and set me up, and I'll be good in a couple weeks. Because I've broken my other one before. I just cracked it. And that's how it was.
Yeah.
But this one was not the same.
No. As the x-ray showed, no, it was not the same.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, it was very painful. And just until, I mean, I had surgery on it, and I may be getting ahead, but like second week of January, and I'm feeling pretty good now. I actually just got off my first ride off road like literally 2 hours ago. So don't tell
We'll
my
get
doctor
there
that.
we'll get to the ride in a second, but let's talk a little bit about your actual surgery and how that went.
So so I've never had surgery before, right?
Okay.
And never been put to sleep. Like I don't like needles. I don't like hospitals. I've never even been in the hospital. Like besides like, oh, get X-ray for your concussion or broken bone or something, right? And you're out like an hour or two. So we get there. They put me in like this. So I was sketched out. I thought like when you're like pre-op, you get like your own room and all this stuff. No way. I'm in there and like this is like I felt so bad. Like, I was being such a baby and like all scared and stuff. And like I'm in this room. It's like this big like room, and like there's like curtains in between the patients, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like your not your hotel, your hospital room, right?
Yeah.
Or so I'm like laid up in bed, like they're like doing the IVs and stuff. I'm like, I guess they drug you up by IV. I don't know. But I'm like, there's like this old guy, and they bring you up in groups. So I guess it's like a special elevator. You got to be escorted. So like I was in a group of like 5 people that were getting surgery that day, and this old guy. I felt bad. I feel bad, and I was like, oh, like I don't want to do this. I didn't say this, but like to him, but I was like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. I'm all nervous, and I could hear him in the room or behind the curtain talking to the nurse. Oh yeah, well they're cutting off my foot today. I'm like,
Ooh.
geez, man, like I gotta toughen up. Like, and he was
Yeah.
so calm, like, oh yeah, cutting off my foot. I'm like, all right, that's kind of intense.
Wow. To be calm during that, that's crazy.
I know. I'm like, oh, I don't want to get an IV. You probably heard me just for like that little. But yeah, they pretty much they wheeled me in the operating room, and like I'm like sitting up in like a bed, but sitting up. They're like, oh, can you hop up on this table here? I'm like, I mean, at that point, I couldn't move my arm at all. Like, and it was a good like it was like a countertop. I'm like, I can't get up there. And as I'm like looking around, I see like all these like cadavers and like huge drills and like
Cadavers are.
hammers and what's that?
I said a cadaver is a dead body.
What do you call them then? A cadaver?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
What are you
thought that was a
talking
corpse.
about?
A big knife and like
That's a scalpel.
scout. Yeah, that's what a cadaver.
A
Oh,
cadaver is a
cadavers.
dead body.
It's okay. I'm from Mississippi. We didn't really learn things in school.
That's good.
I was the cadaver. But anyway, I'm like getting all queasy, so I'm looking around and see like these like big tools and they're all like laid out. I'm like, oh man, that if you're laid out, there must be going to be used on me. Like
As a mechanic. A mechanic knows it's his tools.
I literally had like smaller tools in my toolbox to work on cars. Like, but anyways, I'm like, nope, I can't get up there. And they're like, okay. And then like, oh, you feel that? And I'm like, feel what? And I was out. And I woke up like, don't remember anything. Woke up and all I wanted was Steak and Shake. So I got Steak and Shake. Thanks to my lovely wife, Alicia, who's been
Nice.
putting up with me, who is also a nurse. So,
Which is helpful. That's helpful for sure.
yeah. So went to Steak and Shake. I think I ate 2 bites of my milkshake and fell asleep for the rest of the day. And so, yeah.
So that was the second week of January, right? And one of the things that we've talked about, like on the phone with each other in the last 2 weeks, is like just getting your strength back. So, like, what has that process been like for you?
Um, it's kind of scary. I mean, when you have surgery and like all of a sudden like my collarbone feels fine. It's actually numb for like the end of my shoulder. From here to the end of my shoulder, I can't feel like at all.
Really?
And yeah, and the doctor's like, yeah, maybe like a not like a complication, but like a not even a side effect, but like sometimes it comes back, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is. But
Wow.
so like my pain after the surgery was excruciating, worse than breaking the bone by far. Um, for like probably the first 3 days, maybe even 4 days, and then after that, it slowly got better. But it's scary because you have your collarbone feels fine, but you have no range of motion. Like my arm's been in a sling for 2 weeks. But I guess it took a minute for me to understand it, talking to the wife and the doctor and all that. Like they cut all the muscle, all like the nerves, everything was cut, so it had to grow back together. Which is I still don't really understand it, but it's like every day I can like just move more, and it's just like it just happens.
That's interesting. It's strange how your body adapts, like especially after an injury like that.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like after I think maybe a week, I was back, on the trainer. 3 weeks I was mountain biking last weekend, and so this weekend at 4 weeks I'm back on a dirt bike.
So just over 1 month after the accident happened, you're back riding motorcycles again.
Yeah, didn't suspect that. I mean, if you follow the doctor's orders, I can't ride for another month, but feeling pretty good.
So let's talk about the motorcycle real quick. So you had your KTM, and after your accident, you repaired the handlebars and you sold that. That's gone now.
Yep.
So what did you replace it with?
So I had to join the Honda / Off-Road Rodeo family and get a Honda CRF 450 RL. So I wanted something dual sport oriented where I could ride on the street legally and still be able to have fun off road.
Nice. And how after this first ride does it compare to your KTM?
It's definitely a lot more power. The suspension's a lot better. If you're familiar with KTM's, they don't have like a linkage style suspension, at least on the enduro bikes, um, which makes it really bouncy in the rear end. It rebounds. It's very inconsistent. It swaps side to side. So it was immediately felt, I immediately felt more comfortable on the Honda because it's got linkage, suspension's stiffer. It's aluminum frame, which is different than a steel frame. The steel is going to give a little bit. So it feels good.
Nice, man. That's awesome. So let's talk about your ride today. So first ride back 1 month after surgery. Well, like 2.5, 3 weeks after surgery, but 1 month after your accident and 1 month before you're supposed to be riding. How did you feel?
Felt pretty good. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago if I was riding a motorcycle today, I was like, no, there's no way. So felt pretty good. Very weak. I can't.
What sense? Like can't pull up on the bars or?
Yeah, I can't pull up on the bars, like riding in like proper position, like having your elbows up. It took a lot of like. It was weird. Like took like mental, like I had to mentally tell myself like move your elbow up, versus just doing it. So because it's just so weak and it hurts a little bit to pull it up and right in the right proper form.
Where did you ride?
Blackwater State Forest here in Florida, north of Pensacola, Florida. So we did about 60 miles of all dirt roads, some single track.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did the bike perform on its first ride? You like it?
It was good, yeah.
Have some stuff you need to tweak?
A little bit. The suspension's a little stiff, but I'd rather it be stiff than too soft. But it's really pretty good. It's got 50/50 tires on it right now. It was kind of muddy today, so that wasn't too fun. And it's probably one of the smartest thing to do. I can't fall on my collarbone, but go ride in the slickest conditions with shit tires. So there's a couple points where it was like, okay, like I'm about to go for a ride, but I saved it.
So, so you're back to riding now. So after breaking your collarbone, like what were you thinking about motorcycles and what brought you back to wanting to ride again so soon?
I think what really pushed me over is buying a new bike. So, so I bought the bike 1 week exactly after surgery. I couldn't even get on it. I had to, well, I eventually did, and I couldn't reach the handlebar. Like I had no range of motion, so I had to use with my other arm, pick my arm up, put it on the handlebar. I couldn't reach the clutch, so I had to like help pull the clutch in to my fingers. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wheelie this thing. So, and I say wheelie, it was like, whoa, and then down, first gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, never even rode the bike like 20 feet, got on it, put in first gear, wheelied it. So I was like, and that pain when I set that wheelie down was excruciating, but it was so worth it.
Was there any part of you that thought you were going to stop riding motorcycles after you broke it?
No, not really. I mean, when you're laid up in the hospital, you're like, oh man, I'm not even doing this anymore. But for me, this is literally like my life. I grew up, and I learned how to ride at 3 years old. I've done it since then. I work at a motorcycle shop. My family rides.
Yeah.
Like all my friends ride. So it's like, it would be kind of hard not to.
Yeah. What do you think, like, because this is the most serious injury you've ever had from riding, right? What do you think you could do differently going forward to avoid getting injured?
Definitely be smarter. I mean, if it's a sight lap and you're riding with 200 beginner riders, you probably shouldn't push your luck. Another thing is I normally, and this is real dumb, I normally don't wear any like gear. I mean, I wear like a helmet, boots, goggles,
You mean armor? You don't wear any like armor?
Yeah, I don't wear like any like armor like under my jersey or over. Um, and I mean, the stuff is so good now. Like it's you don't feel it, and so in the past I've worn armor and like neck braces and stuff, and it limits you can't move your head. Uh, you have no like motion, range of motion in your body. So um, that's something I'm going to change. And my mom actually was like, "You're not riding," and my dad, "You're not riding until you get some armor or something,"
Yeah.
So, but I rode today without it. But I was very cautious, and I felt like I needed some. I just feel like
Yeah.
when you drive your car without a seatbelt on, you feel like something's wrong.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good bet to have it. I mean, I don't do the same kind of riding that you do, but even when I do stuff around here, I wear like, a jacket that has like padding in it and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was seeing the Dakar guys, and I guess the Dakar was a month ago.
Yeah.
And they have this Alpine Stars makes an airbag suit, and it's got CO2 canisters in it. And so when it detects a fall, it like inflates, and it's like a big pillow.
Whoa.
And it's pretty cool. I was looking at that. I mean, they're like $400 or $500. But I'm like, that's pretty cool. If I had that, I probably would be fine.
Jeez.
But I would be scared to just like tip over or something
Yeah.
and fall, and this thing like explodes, and it's kind of like gruesome. I mean, it's kind of like it's scary. But yeah, it's something to consider, at least in the future. Like, they have it for MotoGP, but it's coming to the off-road side of things.
What's a lesson that you learned about yourself during this whole ordeal?
What lessons I learned? I hope I
Specifically
learned
about
something,
yourself.
right?
What did you learn about yourself during this?
I learned that I cannot sit inside more than one day. I've already kind of knew that, but like I'm so tired. I had to sleep on the couch. Like, and we got this like nice new couch we got like 3-4 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
love the couch, right? I hate that couch now. I don't want to sit on it. Like when me and the wife are just chilling, watching TV or something, I like literally want to sit in a chair, like a dining room chair, because I do not want to sit on that couch. It gives me
Many
like a
bad
bad feeling.
memories associated with it.
I'm like, oh, I'll pull up a chair and watch TV. She's like, what are you doing?
Too
But
much of
yeah,
a flashback.
yeah, it's pretty crazy, like how much you rely, or yeah, I guess how much you rely on like your collarbone just to do like day to day things. Like I couldn't type on a computer, just like sitting up, like every morning, getting off the couch or like getting out of bed was like, you have to mentally prepare yourself because it's gonna be excruciating pain. But if you want to get up, you can't just like lay there all day, and that's worse than the pain for me.
Yeah. That sucks, man. I'm so glad that you're on the other side of it though, and that you're able to ride again. I'm shocked that you were able to ride again so soon, but I know you, and I guess I shouldn't expect any less.
Yeah, it is what I do.
Awesome, man. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this time. What do you think?
Nice. I think we did pretty good.
I think so too. This was a good test run, and I think if we do put this out and people like it, we'll do more of these. What do you think?
Yeah, I say so. I
Nice,
think
man.
I think they'll get better and better.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing your experience with breaking your collarbone and just talking a little bit about how it didn't kill your love of riding, and getting a new bike only strengthened your desire to ride again. So
Yeah, fuel the fire.
exactly. Sick, man.
Sick.
Well, until next time.
Yeah. Peace.
Balloons. All right. Bye.
All right.